What if I told you that many black artists have lost their lives in horrifying accidents that left the world in shock and sorrow? From cars flipping multiple times, planes crashing from tens of thousands of feet, to thunderous explosions piercing the dark night, they departed in catastrophic incidents, leaving behind profound scars. And in today's video, we will revisit the 25 most tragic deaths among black artists. Brace yourself, because their deaths might be some of the most devastating tragedies you've ever heard of. 1. Lisa "Left Eye" Lopes, the fateful journey that ended a rebellious life. Lisa "Left Eye" Lopes, one of the standout members of the iconic group TLC, was not only a music legend, but also a bold creative force. Alongside T-Boz and Chili, TLC produced hits like Waterfalls, No Scrubs, and Creep, selling over 65 million records worldwide. However, behind the spotlight, Lisa faced dark chapters in her life. She had legal troubles after setting her boyfriend's house on fire in a fit of rage. Inner struggles, failed relationships, and lingering wounds haunted her. After many hardships, Lisa sought peace through spiritual practices in Honduras, ready to start a new chapter in her life. But fate was cruel to the young woman who had just turned 30. On the morning of April 25, 2002, during a trip to Honduras, Lisa faced a horrific accident. On a deserted road where melting snow still lingered, a speeding truck suddenly appeared, forcing her to swerve abruptly to avoid a collision. In the ensuing panic, the SUV lost control, hurtling at terrifying speed before crashing into a massive tree. The screeching of metal, shattered glass, and the vehicle flipping multiple times were accompanied by the desperate cries of witnesses. The final moments resembled an inescapable nightmare. Without a seatbelt, Lisa was thrown from the car. This tragedy was eerily foreshadowed by a minor accident earlier when she had accidentally hit a young boy. The pain and brutality of her sudden death claimed a music legend, leaving an indescribable sense of loss. 2. Aaliyah, the final flight of the R&B princess. Aaliyah, Dana Houghton, the princess of R&B for an entire generation, captivated the world with hits like Try Again, Are You That Somebody? And One in a Million. Beyond her enchanting voice, she conquered the silver screen and fashion world. But just as the brilliance of her album, Aaliyah, and her film Queen of the Damned was shining brightly, an unimaginable tragedy took it all away. In the early hours of August 25, 2001, Aaliyah and 8 others boarded a small plane in the Bahamas to return home after an exhausting shoot. Little did they know, this flight would mark the end of a legend. Shortly after takeoff, the engine roared ominously, signaling impending disaster. The overloaded plane, piloted by an unqualified individual, suddenly shook violently as if on the verge of explosion. In a moment of sheer terror, the plane plummeted to the ground and burst into flames. The fiery crash left a charred wreckage, and Aaliyah was gone forever. Her death was not just a heartbreaking loss, but also sparked outrage among millions over the recklessness and irresponsibility of the pilot. A bright star had dimmed, leaving unfulfilled dreams and an irreplaceable void in the hearts of her fans. 3. Kobe Bryant, the heartbreaking end of the Black Mamba and his daughter. Kobe Bryant, known as the Black Mamba, was not just an NBA legend with 5 championships and 2 MVP titles, but also a multi-talented artist who won an Oscar for his film, Dear Basketball. Yet his illustrious career came to a tragic and unexpected end. On a chilly morning on January 26, 2020, Kobe, his daughter Gianna, Gigi, and 7 others boarded a helicopter en route to a basketball game. That day, thick fog blanketed the sky, foreshadowing the unavoidable tragedy. Mid-flight, the helicopter suddenly shook violently, its engine emitting a terrifying screech before helplessly plunging into a Calabasas hillside. A deafening explosion shattered the air, and raging flames consumed everything in their path. Kobe, Gigi, and everyone aboard perished in that harrowing moment, leaving an indescribable pain and sorrow in the hearts of their admirers. It was a heartbreaking end to the extraordinary journey of the Black Mamba and the unfulfilled dreams of his young daughter. 4. Rasuel Butler and Leah LaBelle, the perfect couple, united in fate's final chapter. Rasuel Butler, an NBA star renowned for his exceptional three-point shooting, and Leah LaBelle, a promising singer who shone on American Idol, were not only celebrated for their talents, but also for their fairy tale romance. They were a symbol of success and love in the entertainment world. Yet their love story was tragically cut short in a cruel twist of fate. The final chapter of this talented couple's life unfolded on the night of January 31st, 2018, as Rasuel and Leah sped through the streets of Los Angeles, seemingly racing against destiny. The sound of screeching tires pierced the quiet night as their car lost control and crashed into a concrete pillar by the roadside. The violent impact flipped the car, shattering glass and leaving them motionless amid the wreckage. Investigations later revealed that Rasuel had been under the influence of alcohol and substances, making the tragedy even more heartbreaking. Two brilliant talents, full of promise, were lost in a shocking incident that stunned the world. Fate bound them together to the very end, leaving behind a sorrowful story that remains unforgettable. 5. Sam Cooke, the mysterious death of the father of soul, his final symphony. Sam Cooke, the father of modern soul, captivated millions of hearts with timeless hits like A Change Is Gonna Come and You Send Me, while also becoming a pioneer in the fight for racial equality. At the height of his career, he continued dreaming of new musical projects, but fate forced him to pen the haunting final chapter of his life. On a cold winter night of December 11, 1964, in a Los Angeles motel room, the silence was shattered by a heated argument, followed by a piercing gunshot. Sam Cooke, the music hero, suddenly collapsed to the cold floor, creating a heartbreaking scene straight out of a noir film. Motel manager Bertha Franklin claimed she shot him in self-defense. But was the truth so simple? Rumors of financial conspiracies, personal conflicts, and Sam's life pressures cast doubt on the circumstances of his death, making it a lingering mystery. Regardless of whether the truth is ever fully uncovered, one undeniable fact remains. The world of music lost an irreplaceable talent that night. 6. Otis Redding, from the bright stage to the dark abyss of death. Otis Redding, the King of Soul, was a music icon like no other. With unforgettable tracks like Sittin' On the Dock of the Bay, Respect, and Try a Little Tenderness, he won the hearts of millions. Yet at the peak of his career, a horrific tragedy took this shining star away forever. On the fateful night of December 10, 1967, during a journey to his next performance, the Beechcraft H-18 carrying Otis and his band became an instrument of death. In the dense fog, the engine roared in desperation before the plane plummeted into Monona Lake. The violent impact tore through the tranquil silence, transforming the peaceful waters into a horrifying accident scene. Otis and most of the band members sank into the icy depths, with only a single chair and Ben Cauley, the sole survivor, left afloat. Clinging to life in utter fear, he watched his friends disappear forever. Otis's death left a profound sense of loss among his colleagues and fans. Just days before, he had completed the iconic song Sittin' On the Dock of the Bay, his final masterpiece, leaving a bittersweet legacy. 7. Marvin Gaye, The Heartbreaking Family, tragedy that ended the life of the Prince of Motown. Marvin Gaye, the Prince of Motown, was not just a talented artist, but a pioneer in delivering deep messages about love, society, and politics through timeless hits like What's Going On, Let's Get It On, and I Heard It Through the Grapevine. However, behind the glamour lay personal turbulence, particularly within his family, that he could never overcome. On April 1, 1984, a devastating tragedy unfolded in Marvin Gaye's own home. During a heated argument with his father, Marvin Gaye Sr., tensions exploded into unimaginable violence. Overcome with rage, his father raised a gun, and a dry, deafening gunshot shattered the stillness of the night. Marvin collapsed to the floor, never to rise again. The house, once a haven of warm memories, turned into the scene of unbearable pain and loss as one of the greatest voices in music was silenced forever. 8. Tupac Shakur, a hip-hop legend struck down in the Las Vegas night. Tupac Shakur, known for hits like Dear Mama, Changes, and California Love, was not only a brilliant rapper, but also a symbol of resistance against tough societal issues. At the peak of his career and on the verge of releasing the album The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory, Tupac faced escalating conflicts and a life riddled with challenges. Everything came to a halt on the fateful night of September 7, 1996. In a sleek black BMW gliding under the dazzling Las Vegas lights, Tupac and his companion had no inkling that death was near. Suddenly, a parallel car crept closer, its window rolling down, and a barrage of gunfire erupted, piercing the serene night. In seconds, 4 bullets struck Tupac amidst the chaos of screams and flashing police lights. Questions about the conspiracy behind his death, ranging from feuds in the hip-hop scene to hidden enemies, remain unanswered. One certainty is that a legend was lost, with unfinished projects still on the horizon as he stood at the pinnacle of his career. 9. Notorious B.I.G., the East Coast rap legend's tragic end. Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, captivated millions with hits like Juicy and Big Papa, showcasing his exceptional storytelling and unparalleled rap style. However, his tumultuous personal life, marked by a tense relationship with Tupac Shakur and the infamous East Coast-West Coast feud, thrust him into a cycle of relentless violence. Biggie's tragic fate unfolded on a chilly, drizzly night on March 9, 1997. As his SUV came to a halt at an intersection in Los Angeles, he had no idea death was lying in wait. From the shadows, a cold-blooded assassin emerged and unleashed a hail of bullets through the car's glass and into Biggie's body. The music inside the vehicle continued to play, now a mournful requiem for the rap legend. Moments later, the world fell silent in disbelief as news spread of Biggie's death. His passing symbolized the culmination of the East Coast-West Coast conflict, leaving an agonizing mystery in music history. Shortly after, his album Life After Death was released, cementing his place as an immortal icon in hip-hop. Though a legend has fallen, his legacy endures eternally. 10. Nipsey Hussle, a community icon, taken away on the streets of Los Angeles. Nipsey Hussle, born Ermias Asghedom, was not only a talented rapper with works like The Marathon and the album Victory Lap, but also a symbol of hope and renewal. He dedicated his life to building his community, inspiring younger generations through education, entrepreneurship, and self-development. Yet all his dreams and ambitions were brutally extinguished in a single tragic moment. On the afternoon of March 31, 2019, under the bright Los Angeles sun, Nipsey was tragically gunned down right in front of his Marathon clothing store, a cornerstone of his efforts to uplift the community. Eric Holder, a familiar face in the neighborhood, approached Nipsey. After a brief argument, the peace of the street was shattered by gunfire. Nipsey fell to the pavement, and the neighborhood was overwhelmed with cries of fear, tears of grief, and an immeasurable sense of loss. His death was not only a blow to the music industry, but also a devastating setback for a community he had worked so hard to transform. Nipsey's legacy as a dreamer and changemaker lives on, even as his life was cut tragically short. 11. Phyllis Hyman. A musical legend, lost in the depths of despair. Phyllis Hyman, with her rare contralto voice, left an indelible mark with timeless songs like You Know How to Love Me and Living All Alone. She also dazzled audiences on Broadway in Sophisticated Ladies, captivating every gaze. However, the spotlight could not dispel the personal turmoil she endured, as the pain of a failed marriage gnawed at her spirit. On June 30th, 1995, Phyllis's anguish reached its peak. In the quiet solitude of her bedroom, she chose to end her torment by using controlled substances. Her final letter, penned in trembling handwriting, revealed the depth of her despair. A haunting silence enveloped the room. Phyllis Hyman's death was not only the loss of a musical legend, but also a stark reminder of the weight of loneliness and unrelenting mental pressures. Though she has departed, her voice remains a cherished legacy, resonating in the hearts of her devoted fans. 12. Donny Hathaway. Battling Inner Demons. The tragic end of a legendary voice. Donny Hathaway, the celebrated soul and R&B legend known for masterpieces like A Song for You and The Ghetto, enjoyed a luminous music career. However, his battle with schizophrenia overshadowed his life, turning each day into an endless struggle. On January 13, 1979, Donny Hathaway's fight came to a heartbreaking end. In a moment of profound despair, he leapt from the 15th floor of New York's Essex House Hotel, bringing his journey to a tragic close. The painful fall carried with it all his unhealed wounds, suffering, and unrealized dreams. Beneath the flickering lights of the city, Donny lay motionless, a somber reminder of the torment that plagued his artistic soul. The dull thud of his fall marked the end of a talent the world could never replace. Hathaway's passing left an irreplaceable void in music and a deep sadness among fans who mourned a gifted artist unable to conquer his inner darkness. 13. Jimi Hendrix. A guitar legend's sudden departure in heartbreaking tragedy. Jimi Hendrix, with electrifying performances at Woodstock and the Monterey Pop Festival, and iconic albums like Are You Experienced and Electric Ladyland, became an irreplaceable figure in rock history. Yet, despite his fame, Hendrix battled inner turmoil that few truly understood. His seemingly boundless life ended abruptly on September 18, 1970, in a shocking loss that reverberated worldwide. In a small London flat, Jimi was found collapsed on the floor, the victim of a barbiturate overdose. Scattered pills and empty bottles painted a grim picture of despair. Vomit and saliva surrounded him, illustrating the lonely and desperate final moments of the legendary guitarist. At just 27 years old, Hendrix became another member of the infamous 27 Club, joining a somber group of brilliant but ill-fated musical talents. Though his life ended too soon, Jimi's unparalleled contributions to music live on as a lasting legacy. 14. Whitney Houston. A bright star dimming amidst tragic shadows. Whitney Houston, renowned for her powerful soprano voice and unforgettable hits like I Will Always Love You and I Want to Dance with Somebody, was a cultural icon admired worldwide. Yet behind the applause, she struggled with inner turmoil that pulled her into a spiral of pain and despair. On February 11, 2012, the world was stunned to learn Whitney was found lifeless, slumped by the edge of a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Water spilled across the room, casting a cold, somber atmosphere. Empty pill bottles, the scent of chemicals, and the faint sound of her last song playing on the radio painted a haunting picture of her final moments. Later reports revealed her death was caused by heart disease exacerbated by cocaine use, a devastating truth that added to the sorrow of her final chapter. Whitney Houston's passing was not just the end of a legendary life, but also left an irreplaceable void in the world of music. Her voice, however, continues to echo, an eternal reminder of her brilliance and artistry. 15. Bobby Christina Brown, the tragic repetition of a legendary family. Bobby Christina Brown, the only daughter of Whitney Houston, was seen as a symbol of hope, someone expected to carry on her mother's great musical legacy. Though she never officially entered the music industry, she always shone alongside her mother on grand stages and in the hearts of fans. However, after Whitney's sudden passing, Bobby's life spiraled into pain, controversy, and unstable relationships, leading to a hauntingly tragic end. On January 31, 2015, Bobby Christina was found in the bathtub of her home, a chilling echo of her mother's death. The water was icy cold, and her face appeared unnervingly pale. Despite doctors' tireless efforts to resuscitate her, it seemed her fate had already been sealed. After 6 months in a coma, Bobby Christina took her last breath, leaving behind an indescribable grief. Her passing was a harrowing repetition of her family's tragedy, etching an unforgettable pain into the hearts of those who loved both mother and daughter. 16. Michael Jackson. The heartbreaking final chapter of the King of Pop. Michael Jackson, a global music icon, conquered every peak with legendary albums like Thriller, Bad, and Dangerous. Every move he made, from the moonwalk to his mesmerizing performances, became part of music history. However, his personal life was rife with turmoil, marked by serious allegations and the relentless pressures of fame. Before his death, Michael was preparing for his This Is It tour, but his unexpected passing brought everything to a sudden end. On June 25, 2009, the world was shaken when Michael Jackson was found motionless in his bed, surrounded by the chemical scent of propofol. A heart monitor's blinking red light foreshadowed tragedy, but all attempts to save him proved futile. Dr. Conrad Murray, his personal physician, could only watch helplessly as the King of Pop slipped away forever. Michael's death not only marked the end of a musical genius's life, but also left an enduring ache in the hearts of millions of fans. Although he is gone, the legacy he left behind continues to shine like an everlasting light in the hearts of the public. 17. Prince, a musical icon lost to painkillers. Prince, an eternal music icon, shaped a generation with hits like Purple Rain, Kiss, and When Doves Cry. He was not just an artist, but a trailblazer who shattered boundaries in music and culture. Yet behind the spotlight, he endured chronic pain that forced him to rely on powerful painkillers to cope. On April 21, 2016, the world was stunned when Prince was found lifeless at Paisley Park, his vibrant haven of music now shrouded in silence. The dim light of his familiar piano accentuated his pale face, surrounded by scattered pills, a silent testament to the destruction wrought by counterfeit fentanyl, the drug that claimed his life. In his final moments, Prince wrestled with unbearable pain before darkness consumed the once lively space. Prince's death was not just a monumental loss for the music world, but also a stark reminder of the overwhelming pressures borne by great artists. 18. Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther hero's silent battle. Chadwick Boseman, known for legendary roles in 42, Get On Up, and most notably Black Panther, was not only a talented actor, but a symbol of strength and pride for the Black community. Few knew that since 2016, he had been fighting stage 4 colon cancer, all while continuing to dedicate himself to his craft. On the chilly night of August 28, 2020, Chadwick drew his last breath at his Los Angeles home. In the dimly lit room, the glow of his laptop cast light on his face, the face of a resilient warrior still clutching the script of his final film. When friends found him, the room had fallen into an eerie silence, broken only by the ticking clock, a reminder that time had claimed a shining star, an irreplaceable hero. 19. Bernie Mac, a comedy legend lost to a storm of illness. Bernie Mac captured the hearts of millions through The Bernie Mac Show and iconic films like Ocean's 11 and Mr. 3000 with his candid, charismatic humor. He was not just a talented entertainer, but a symbol of resilience and passion in comedy. However, behind the laughter, Bernie fought a long battle with sarcoidosis, an invisible enemy that slowly ravaged his body. On August 9, 2008, at a hospital in Chicago, Bernie faced his final battle. The sound of a ventilator echoed like the last beats of a weary heart. Despite the doctor's relentless efforts, the storm of illness proved too overwhelming, and Bernie could not survive. As he took his final breath, the laughter he brought to so many lives suddenly vanished, leaving behind an irreplaceable void. Bernie Mac's passing was not just a profound loss to comedy, but a deeply felt sorrow for all who cherished his work. 20. Heavy D, a hip-hop legend, falls after a fateful flight. Heavy D, who lit up the 1990s with hits like Now That We Found Love and Is It Good to You, was not only a talented rapper, but also a brilliant producer who redefined rap with his unique style. However, Heavy D's illustrious career came to a sudden end in a moment no one could have predicted. On November 8, 2011, after a long flight from London, Heavy D returned home feeling exhausted. As he lay down to rest, a sharp, sudden chest pain struck him. Pulmonary embolism, a silent and ruthless killer, likely triggered by the long flight, swiftly claimed his life. Despite emergency efforts, nothing could overcome the grasp of death. Heavy D's unexpected passing not only marked the end of a musical legend's journey, but also served as a stark reminder of life's fragility. 21. James Brown, the godfather of funk, succumbs to heart failure. James Brown, the godfather of soul, was a legend known for iconic hits like I Got You, I Feel Good, and Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. He was a beacon of inspiration for generations of artists. Yet behind his explosive performances lay a weary heart worn down by battles with pneumonia and cardiovascular diseases. On Christmas morning in 2006, the music world was shaken when James Brown took his final breath at a hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. His labored breaths were like mournful notes, bringing the symphony of his legendary life to a close. Pneumonia and heart failure claimed the life of this great talent, leaving an unfillable void in the hearts of his loved ones and fans. 22. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, ends her legendary journey in pain. Aretha Franklin, famed for timeless songs like Respect and I Say a Little Prayer, was not only an extraordinary artist, but also a source of endless inspiration for millions. Over 6 decades, she gave her all to touch the hearts of countless generations. Yet her life was a long and arduous battle with pancreatic cancer. On August 16, 2018, under the scorching summer sun, the world was stunned to learn that Aretha had taken her final breath at her home. Even while fighting the devastating illness, she remained resilient, with her last performance occurring in November 2017. Her final days were filled with pain, but she never gave up. In her last moments, she sang faintly, as if bidding a final farewell to the music world she so dearly loved. The room where she passed was steeped in somber silence, broken only by the ticking clock, a reminder that time had brought an end to the illustrious life of a music icon. 23. Naya Rivera, the Glee star's sacrifice to save her son. Naya Rivera, best known for her role as Santana Lopez in Glee, captured the hearts of millions with her voice and acting. She embodied strength and grace throughout her career, which began at a young age. However, she will forever be remembered for her brave and selfless act during her final moments. The tragedy unfolded on July 8, 2020, at Lake Peru, California. Naya and her son Josie went boating, unaware it would be her final journey. As strong waves threatened their lives, Naya used all her strength to save Josie, safely placing him on the boat before succumbing to the cold, unforgiving waters. Her ultimate sacrifice left her family, friends, and fans heartbroken, while her story became a poignant testament to a mother's unconditional love. 24. Roger Troutman, a funk legend, lost to family tragedy. Roger Troutman, founder of the band Zapp, was a funk music icon known for hits like Computer Love and More Bounce to the Ounce. His innovative style profoundly impacted R&B and hip-hop. No one could have foreseen that his illustrious life would end in such tragedy. On April 25, 1999, a horrifying night unfolded as Roger Troutman was attacked by his brother Larry Troutman outside a recording studio in Dayton, Ohio. A gunshot shattered the night's silence, revealing a family torn apart by financial disputes and unresolved tensions. Shortly after, Larry ended his own life in a car, leaving behind a scene of chaos and heartbreak. The sudden loss of Roger, a funk legend, remains a haunting reminder of the fragility of human relationships and the dark side of fame. 25. Dolla, a promising rapper, cut down by a heated dispute. Dolla, born Roderick Anthony Burton II, was a rising rapper known for tracks like Who the Heck Is That and Cali Boy. Signed to a major record label, he was poised for greatness, with the public eagerly anticipating his future success. But his bright future was tragically cut short on May 18, 2009. Dolla's death sent shockwaves through the music industry when he was fatally shot in a dispute outside the Beverly Center Mall. In the midst of a bustling crowd, he suddenly collapsed as the scene around him froze in horror. The assailant, Aubrey Berry, who owed Dolla $1 million, coldly fled the scene after pulling the trigger, leaving behind a chilling reminder of the perils of fame. 25 black stars, 25 brilliant talents of music, film, and sports gone. Too soon, these stars closed the final chapters of their lives at a tragically young age, leaving behind unfulfilled dreams and unfinished works of art. Their deaths are not only a loss to their families, but to the entire world of entertainment and culture. They lived, they burned brightly, but death came far too quickly and cruelly. Which star's passing haunts you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel as we unveil the tearful stories hidden behind the glimmering spotlight.